My name is Olga Peregood and I'm streaming online from my art studio in Ontario, Canada. And welcome once again, everybody. I'm so glad you are joined. Actually, you choose the correction points, but where else? And by accident I have this wide gap and I can turn this into his leg. And his leg maybe be forward or hiding behind the tree. So for example, if I paint a line, his leg gonna be hiding. But if I can change something, I can paint his leg here as I have this wide gap and I have a freedom to do so. So I can paint some features to say this is the leg here. If I don't like how it looks like, I have a tissue and I can remove this. Paint a few dots and then connect them. So dark, I paint dark dot, make a shadow with this violet. Okay, let's keep it seem so effortless and don't overwork. Another tip: splattering. What if I splatter color here? Here I think it's already have this fluffy, rich, fluffy fur. How about whiskers? Raccoons are extremely fluffy and funny. Their face expression makes me immediately funny feeling. Oh, wonderful tip. If I turn my painting, look at it like it should be like this. Maybe you'll find something new, something interesting, new tips on what to add. You know, just spending time thinking and looking about different possibilities. What if I do like this, like that? Funny time spending. And actually this is how your imagination grows. So here I don't like this loose effect, so here I want more defined stem. So I paint this line. Here I like this by adding this very little liney. I place my brush like this. I don't hold it like that. I place it flat and apply brush mark. And this is it. This is how I painted that. And also I followed my guideline composition. So by doing so, this is how your paintings became more realistic looking. Yes, when we paint loose, especially first washes, we fall in love into the process. And it's so easy to forget about proportions, lines, and this is by following composition tips, as I showed you this little tip with the stem of a tree and adding a little touch. This is how your painting becomes realistic looking, and you come down to the earth after these first layers, adventures, and on a final stage you're looking with, you know, sharp brush. You apply smart brush marks and you apply it where it's needed. The next tip I wanted to share with you is It's about negative and positive. Oh, it's so serious. Negative, positive painting. Loose style of painting is about that. You paint loose, spontaneous. You come into the mood and you start to paint from your heart, from imagination. You don't judge yourself about choosing colors and stuff like that. And this is how your paintings become loose, seem so effortless. But in order to feel this freedom, to paint flawless, spontaneous, you should know your, you should know your space, and you should have some guidelines, some formula. And when you keep it, when you know, this is where you know that you can be totally free on this moment. You can be totally spontaneous for this section, for example, because it's I don't like to talk, this is why I'm a painter. I prefer to show rather than talk about it, so let me show you rather than talking. This is delphiniums, first wash, completely dry. I see centers of my delphiniums here. And what if I make them more popping? And once I did that, look at that. Something started to change. They're softer, like this. Yeah. If I make this one a flower, I need some petals. So I apply spontaneous brush marks like this in order to achieve them. And smooth maybe some areas like this. Yeah, I like it, so I'm gonna to keep developing this way, in the same way. Oh, I found another one. This is a wax crayon which I applied on the very first layer. Wonderful tip. I see it come out from the dark. Wonderful reason to start conversation and paint another flower, another bud of a delphinium. So as you notice, sometimes I applied defined lines. For example, I apply very realistic petal for the delphinium, and from the other side I start to be totally free and spontaneous, and just let my hand move in, dance in my brush, and see how it looks like. I always can stop and explore my subject and start to paint something defined. For example, like here I can turn this shadow, and this would be a beginning of a flower. See it? So you always can apply spontaneous brush mark, then feel like let's make a break and start to, paint with defined lines. Again, make step back, see how it looks like. Do you Does it reflects with your heart or not? This is where you decide. And on my courses I learn my students to listen to painting, and there is some stage while painting where you detached from the photograph or from the subject, and where you become totally free. And this is the stage where you decide where to stop, where to add details. Do you like it? Do you want it more defined or keep it loose? Maybe you want to turn it, or you prefer abstract paintings. Or you can go bolder. We're different artists, and I wanted to show you, approach, because real season 2 is different from the, actually this is the same, nothing new. This would be season 2, the same, rich in content, not worry, but I'm gonna be more focusing on, subject variety. On a season 1 there were many flowers, you see, many roses, and on season 2 I want to more subject variety, because the style I'm painting and technique I'm sharing with you is universal, and you can apply it to any subject. And in order to do so, I want to, in season 2 show you many different subjects, so you know the technique, for example, composition tip, or a negative, or another tips, and you can see, wow, I can apply it for flower, and for animal, and for landscape, and for people. And you start to see, like, you can really see the formula, the guideline, which makes you free while painting, because you know it. You know this trick, you know those tips. And another tip which I wanted to show you, negative shape. So this was positive painting. I painted on white piece of paper, and on second layer also I added positive shape. I added, keep adding. And I wanted to show you another technique with the negative shape, as well for delphinium. But what makes delphiniums, and lilacs, or lupine? And if you look at the explore your subject, for example, lilac, if I would paint an outline for a lilac, it would be something kind of like lilac outline shape. Like this. But for delphinium, I apply the same technique, the same approach, but I change the outline. For example, for delphiniums, I do exactly the same thing. But I apply delphiniums outlines. Do you see this outline start to pop in? Yeah, so this is a negative shape painting. I painted my flower, but I apply a negative painting. I draw a line here, and if I painted this kind of line, this gonna be not a delphiniums but different flower. So by knowing this technique, you can apply it for any subject. This is universal. And here I apply green, and I can actually turn this into greenery like this. See it? I didn't paint that. I apply watercolor techniques to paint for me, and this is how I love to paint greenery for flowers. And I enjoy painting flowers because knowing those techniques, those watercolor tips, you know, it becomes it brings excitement to your work, and it gives freedom while painting. And often people wondering, how do you do this, how do you do that? And here in my courses I wanted to show you how I do that and share with you. Actually, I want in season 2 to give you many tips and explain about compositions, but through interpretations for loose style of painting, because by knowing those rules, you know where you can be totally free and not worry about so many details by doing so, by knowing those tips and tricks. Guys, I see you speechless, and you know, I want to say you a huge thank you for coming live, for support me. I feel like you listen in every single word and you get it. And you know, thank you for that. This is more than needed. I have so much joy filming, sharing, live streaming, talking, and share with you this magic of this wonderful medium watercolor. And I'm so happy to meet new artist friends all over the world and paint together during these painting afternoons. So this was negative and positive for you. I print even blur photographs, because when you paint loose, you don't need so much details. So even such photographs with blurry effect, not so lucky shoot, but I like the composition, I like the posture of my fish. So I can use it for painting when you paint loose. For sure, this is total disaster if you are a detailed artist, but if you paint loose, this is okay. Right now I'm working on a wonderful chapter for my course, which is the law of pleasure, and I'm searching the ways to deliver this message and show you as many examples how to in practice how to do that. While painting in a process, you stop in purpose on a peak of your excitement, and you stop your session for today. You feel excited and you stop on a very, very peak in purpose. And by doing so, day by day, you establish a wonderful habit. Your mind just go crazy when you think that tomorrow you will have another day for painting. And with this little goldfish exercise today, today I want to show you this law in action, how I do that. I'm going to start to paint, and I'm going to show you when I feel this excitement, I'm going to stop and finish this session. Okay? Good, in order to, prove this point and show you how it works. Okay? I have this fish, and I think, what if I use my old washes? And I have a question for you. Which one suits for my subject? If I imagine like you paint a fish on top of this wash. Yeah, and I have 3 washes. So this is a question for you actually. Which one to choose? And the red one. So type in the chat red. Imagine, oh, it's wonderful, look at it. Wow, if I paint this fish here, just think about it. Spending time by thinking is so valuable time spending. and here where you play and you grow your imagination. So type in the chat red one, yellow, right here maybe, yellow one, or green. I see many reds. I love it too. Yeah. And I have a wonderful game. What if I have this frame? What if I put it and imagine this fish like knocking a door here, and this is the glass of aquarium, glass side, and it knocking it. But the chase will be our aquarium, and I want this fish when this painting is framed like it's knocking the door here, and maybe another fish maybe in this corner also, like this. Yeah, so I know my fish gonna be somewhere here, for example. Look how this red looks like. Oh, I love it. And also the transparency of the watercolor. Look at this line. This is underneath layer, comes through the second layer, which is so amazing. Right now I clear my brush and I'm just use this dot of pigments collected here. Oh, and I forgot to tell, my easel at an angle. Do you see this drop here? It collected naturally because I'm not paint on a flat surface. I have an angle, so this is why colors flow naturally from upside down. And here you can see a drop of pigments, and I use this drop to continue to keep painting. And I need this dot right now because I'm going to paint a tail like this and like that. It's so fun to paint tail here and see this wonderful flow of this red and orange and perylene maroon mixed together. You can apply also, like I did for delphiniums, you can apply spontaneous brush mark. You can stop, and with cool mind and sharp brush you can apply, you know, directional brush marks. Flippers here and there, like this. Translucent orange, perylene maroon, and quinacridone red. I'm going to provide the full list inside the course later. I want this tail be more loose, like my fish is moving. So I smooth it in surface. This is moving subjects, right? We want a feeling of moving water. So I add more water and those rough, apply those, create and form those rough edges. You know, this is it. I started to overwork. I don't need this. And here, this is the exercise for that. The law of pleasure. Stop. Stop when you have this excitement. I already have it. I fall in love into the process so deep, so I start to paint and add flippers on top. One more. What if I paint this flipper and that flipper? And this is too much. I'm finishing, and tomorrow with the fresh eyes I'm going to check out this. Yeah, no doubt I have wonderful feeling that I can't wait. Tomorrow morning I wake up and continue to develop this fish. Okay, another question. Which tip you are gonna to try the first? The composition tip, which I showed you for final touches. Gonna to implement and try to paint different flowers, positive and negative. And tip number three, with the law of excitement. So let me know in the chat which tip is your favorite, first, second, or third. Not favorite, which one you're gonna to try the first after this session stops. Yeah, the full tutorial with the list of materials, how I start to paint from a white piece of paper to the very end with reference photographs. Also in season 2 I'm gonna to be focusing on group work, so there will be more me popping in the middle of a process, helping you, curating you, with more explanation, as this isn't too full of techniques, formulas and guidelines. The next painting afternoon, I'm going to see you next month on March 5th, on Thursday. So see you next time. Bye bye.